Does the air pollution data from the National Atmospheric Emissions Inventory that is used by DEFRA, a UK government department, show how your health will be affected by wood-burning stoves? I'll answer that question at the end of the video. In June 2024, the Stove Industry Association posted an article and a press release on their website titled, "What the NAEI data tells us about stove use best practice." They stated, "What tends to be missing from the press coverage of the government's air pollution data is any explanation of the detail within the data," and then commenting on a Guardian article saying, "It fails to properly reflect the facts within the data that it reports on." They continue with, "It is the detail that paints the clearest picture, and the NAEI data tables are not short on detail." They are right. The data does give lots of detail. Unfortunately, the SIA do not. So let's look at the detail within the data to show you the information that the SIA omit. When you download the NAEI data using their data selector, you can select from 4 classification options: particulate matter, air pollutants, heavy metals, and greenhouse gases. The most recent available data is for 2022. If you download the particulate matter data, it contains 6 different metrics, with PM2.5 being just one of them. The air pollutants data contains 33 different metrics. The heavy metals data has 17 metrics, and greenhouse gases has 8. So the SIA's article only mentions PM2.5, but that's just one of the emission metrics out of a total of 64. Another issue for the SIA article is the type of fuel used for the facts they are stating. The graph they have produced clearly shows Ecodesign PM2.5 emissions using dry wood is lower than 5 of the sources in the data. They state that dry wood is at or below 20% moisture content, and they show 4 facts about Ecodesign burning dry wood. In their top tips, they say you should look for the ready-to-burn logo to ensure your wood logs are at or below 20% moisture content. DEFRA's definition of wood under 20% moisture with the ready-to-burn logo is classified as seasoned wood, not dry wood. A recent DEFRA survey confirms the definitions of dry and seasoned wood. The NAEI data has the information for seasoned wood as confirmed by the SIA's article, so surely the SIA graph should be showing the data for dry and seasoned wood and not just dry wood. Let's look at the PM2.5 data in more detail. This is a version of the SIA graph using the same data from the NAEI, but I've removed small-scale waste burning and added power stations instead. It looks very similar to the graph produced by the SIA. However, we need to add seasoned wood as that's the ready-to-burn wood. Ecodesign stoves burning those 2 types of wood produce more PM2.5 than fireworks. The power stations figure here is all fuels. The data shows the different fuels used in power stations, so we can see the PM2.5 emitted when using wood. They produce less PM2.5 than Ecodesign burning dry and seasoned wood. So that includes DRAX, which is the UK's single largest carbon dioxide emitter and should not be subsidised at all. PM2.5 emissions from Ecodesign stoves burning dry and seasoned wood are 67% higher than all power stations using wood. We can then see emissions for all types of wood being burned on Ecodesign stoves is higher than cigarette smoking. And when you include all the fuels used by Ecodesign stoves, which includes smokeless fuels, anthracite, coal and coke, the PM2.5 pollution is higher than power stations using all fuels. So that's wood, natural gas, oil, etc. And then if you include all the wood burning in the UK, so that's all stoves and open fires burning all types of wood, it's higher than road transport, 25% higher. Now let's look at the black carbon data. A similar graph shows that the black carbon emissions from Ecodesign burning just dry and seasoned wood are higher than fireworks, cigarette smoking and power stations burning all fuels. And when you include wood burning on all stoves and open fires, it's higher than bonfire night and it's 71% of all road transport. And that's when there are only 2.7 million houses with stoves and open fires, but there are over 40 million vehicles. The black carbon pollution per house with a stove or open fire is definitely higher than the black carbon per vehicle. Rather than looking at the metrics individually, let's look at the particulate matter classification as a whole, comparing Ecodesign stoves burning dry and seasoned wood, the ready-to-burn wood. Yellow means that Ecodesign emissions are lower than power stations, and red means Ecodesign emissions are higher. Comparing them to power stations using all fuels, you can see it's just the black carbon where Ecodesign pollution is higher. Compared to power stations using wood, the emissions from Ecodesign stoves burning the ready-to-burn wood are higher on all the particulate matter metrics. Now let's look at the air pollutants classification with 33 metrics. 16 PAH is the combination of 16 of the air pollutants, so we can remove that one. And we can also remove one I can't pronounce and lindane, because they aren't emitted by the sources we are looking at. So that's 30 relevant metrics in the air pollutants classification. Comparing Ecodesign stoves burning the ready-to-burn wood to power stations burning all fuels, you can see that there are 17 metrics that have higher emissions for the Ecodesign stoves. And compared to power stations using wood, emissions from Ecodesign stoves are higher on 22 metrics. A white box indicates that both sources don't emit that pollutant. We can also see how Ecodesign stoves compare to road transport. This is the ready-to-burn wood, and this is Ecodesign stoves using all fuels. We can look at all the classifications at once. We first need to remove 4 metrics from the greenhouse gases classification as they are not emitted by these sources. And I'm going to remove carbon dioxide because it's not included in this data for wood burning. We already know that burning wood releases more carbon dioxide than oil or gas for the same amount of heat or energy. So that leaves 56 relevant metrics. We can compare Ecodesign using ready-to-burn wood against other sources. This is compared to power stations using all fuels. This is compared to power stations using wood. And then this is Ecodesign using ready-to-burn wood against road transport. When the data shows that there are 18 relevant metrics for Ecodesign using ready-to-burn wood that pollute more than road transport, I don't know how the Stove Industry Association can say that modern wood-burning stoves are low emission. And why did the SIA cherry-pick information by only showing the PM 2.5 emissions, which is 1 metric out of 56 relevant metrics? The SIA say to use the ready-to-burn wood that's less than 20% moisture content, which is classed as dry and seasoned wood. So when they show the emissions for Ecodesign stoves, why do they only show the data for dry wood and omit the data for seasoned wood, when that's the 2 types of wood that they recommend to use? This is a lot of information to put out so quickly, and at the beginning of the video I asked the question, does the air pollution data used by DEFRA show how your health will be affected by wood-burning stoves? And the answer is no. All of this data is irrelevant to how it will affect your health. None of it indicates how the health of people in the UK will be affected by wood-burning pollution. I'll tell you why in the next video. Thanks for watching. I'll leave you with the ready-to-burn logo, which should actually read, "Ready to harm your health."